What's up, guys? We're back on Chasing Green Arrows with another special. When it comes to building our FPL team for game week 1, we all want that edge. So I've been seeking a few snippets of information on 5 different teams that might just help bring new wisdom, ideas to help build my team, but also your team for the new season. Now, a couple of these are based on popular big teams, but some also on teams we might only want one asset from, teams that fly under the radar a little bit. But there are some interesting learnings from the preseason campaign that we should probably be looking at. And I'm going to start by looking at Wolves because they've been really impressive during preseason. And I think everyone should pay attention to what is actually going on there. The style of football is so easy on the eye. And one of the goals they scored against RB Leipzig at the weekend, honestly, it's one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life. Like, Wolves are playing good football, and they might actually be not just a mid-table team next season, but a top 10 team who are knocking on the door possibly for Europe if things go well. Gary O'Neill's done a great job at Wolves. They're continuing to evolve. They won the game 3-0 against RB Leipzig. That's not easy. 2 players to look out for. Pablo Sarabia, we've all heard of him. New signing Rodrigo Gomez. He is one to look out for. Rodrigo has been extremely impressive and he's worth having on your radar. But here's the secret bit of info. Here's the thing that not many people are aware of right now. Wolves could be in for an extra good season because they've gone and poached Man City's set-piece expert. His name is Jack Wilson. And Gary O'Neill has said that he feels this guy has the detailed, intrinsic analysis of set pieces that is going to bring an extra layer to their game. Now, Gary O'Neill is one of the deepest thinking managers there is in the Premier League. And he says that he's not met many people that are on the same wavelength as him, but this guy is. And of course, when we're looking at Wolves, you're always thinking of Hwang and Neto as like your most go-to key assets. But I'm wondering if we could get deeper choices now to look at in the coming weeks and months. I still think we need to keep an eye on Neto. There's a chance that he leaves Wolves for sure. But if he stays, he's going to be a very good pick. When he came on in pre-season the other day, he started as sub, but he came on. And even though Wolves were playing very well, Neto took their game to a different level. So look out for Rodrigo as not one that not many people know about. Make sure you're still tuning into Neto and what's going on with him. But also look at Wolves' set pieces coming up because that is something they're going to look to improve. Now, next up, I want to look at one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's Man United. Now, it's been really hard to judge during pre-season what we're going to get from them. But a situation up front is what we should all be looking at going forward because injury to Rasmus Højlund is really annoying. He scored a great goal against Arsenal, then he went and got injured. And now United don't really have an obvious goal threat. In pre-season, they've been using Jadon Sancho as a false 9. I went to watch him in San Diego the other day against Real Betis. He did fine, but he didn't have any threat about him in terms of actually scoring goals. He might actually end up starting against Fulham, to be honest. If he doesn't, then it'll be Bruno Fernandes. Ten Hag just hinted that he would be willing to use Bruno Fernandes as a false 9. Or if he's ready, it could be Joshua Zirkzee. Now, what this all means is actually that when it comes to open play, it's not the number 9 for Man United that is necessarily going to be the guy that we want in our team. It's going to be the guys that are playing out wide. Now, Amad Diallo has been probably their best performer consistently throughout pre-season. He's somebody that we've already got all on our watch lists coming up for the new season. But Marcus Rashford is somebody that I 100% have my eye on at the moment. In that game that I watched against Betis, Rashford looked a bit more like his old self. And what he's also looking to do is exploit spaces. Now, again, the game I watched, Rashford ended up scoring. It was from the penalty spot, but he did score. His general performances have been good all pre-season. There was a feeling last season that when he played with Højlund, he wasn't getting into the spaces that he usually would want to. And it was frustrating for him. He's had talks with Ten Hag since the end of last season. And United's aim for Rashford is to give him more freedom, to allow him more goal-scoring opportunities. If he's playing with a false 9, now ideally Zirkzee, yes. But if it's Sancho, if it's Bruno, they would be encouraged to open up spaces for Rashford to arrive into. And now if Rashford is able to do that, his numbers are going to rocket. Ruud van Nistelrooy also having a very positive impact around the club since arriving as a coach. I think he's going to improve Rashford's output as well. So, Yeah, when we're looking at United coming up over the next 10 days, keep an eye on Marcus Rashford. Because in the next week, I think that we're really going to get a good feel for how United are building in terms of getting him in and around goal. Now, the next team I want to talk about is Nottingham Forest. This team, honestly, are flying under everyone's radar, I feel. There was a great report recently from John Percy from The Telegraph, and it shone a light on a few aspects that are fascinating in terms of their pre-season plans. One of my favourite bits of info was actually that the goalkeepers have been wearing dark glasses in training, specially designed to improve their reaction speeds. Now, I'm not sure how that can help us in FPL. Maybe they keep more clean sheets, but I thought it was fun. What might be more interesting is that Morgan Gibbs-White has been training and even used in friendlies as a false nine. Now, I like Morgan Gibbs-White anyway. I think he's great. I think that this season could be his best season so far in professional football. And whether he plays as a false nine or he just plays an attacking midfielder, his price point makes him a very attractive proposition. I've actually got him in my team tentatively at the moment because I feel he could be a decent differential and they have a decent set of fixtures coming up early on. If things go well, he could be a bit of a surprise performer when you consider the fact that not many people have him on their radar. One of the other things to consider in this Nottingham Forest team as they're building towards the season and those forward players being able to do well is that they're being helped by the growth of another player who was impressed in pre-season. That's Ibrahim Sangare. Now, he's a defensive midfielder. He was signed from PSV for like £30 million last year. He's been injured and stuff and not had the chance to kind of impose himself on Nottingham Forest so far. He has been excellent during pre-season by all accounts. And that could help Nottingham Forest's fluidity further up the pitch. So I already spoke about Wolves having potential at the start of the season. I think Nottingham Forest have hopes of similar aspirations, not just mid-table. Okay, team number 4 is Chelsea. Chelsea. Okay, what are we getting from Chelsea? It's been a bit of a poor pre-season so far. I don't think there's any avoiding that in terms of results, in terms of performances. It's not been good. That might be perked up if they could make an attacking signing like Meridian, who they're after at the moment. They might finally have some goal power, but that's all for another day. What we've seen so far defensively is alarming, and it's something we really need to address and think about. Now, I think a lot of people have talked about the fact that they've been using an inverted fullback system, and Reece James has been the guy that's mainly been having to do that. That could continue. Reece James does have the traits to come inside and play as that deep-lying midfielder. Actually, his balls out of that area are very good, and recently, whether he's been playing as a right-sided centre-back or if he's been stepping into midfield, he's actually shown that he's got a really good array of passing available to him. And Reece James can definitely open things up for Chelsea. The problem is not that. The problem is that when Chelsea have been inverting and going into like a 3-2-4-1 formation, the two defensive midfielders have been getting overrun. And in most preseason matches, that's been completely exploited. So, yeah, when you watch their games, it's pretty obvious that they're having issues at the back. They're switching off for short periods and it's costing them games. But the real concerns about them being exposed in the early weeks of this season are because they are not managing to adapt quickly enough to Enzo Maresca's ideas and philosophy. And I know that there are concerns of this dragging into the season. Maresca's going to be stubborn on this. Do not expect him to change. He knows what he wants to do with this Chelsea team. And even if there are players who aren't comfortable playing in the system, he'll continue playing it because he thinks this is the way to success. Time will tell whether it works out, but I would just stay away from Chelsea assets unless it's Cole Palmer in the early weeks of the season. Cole Palmer's basically fireproof. Doesn't matter what's going on around him. He always seems to perform. So I'd still be like confident in Cole Palmer getting points, but Chelsea looks so vulnerable at the moment, and I think it's pretty alarming. Haaland scored a hat-trick against them the other day. He could well do the same on the opening day of the season. And talking of Man City, I think we should address them as point number 5 because they are the champions and we all want Man City assets in our team. And I'm going to end by talking about the Community Shield because it's coming up this weekend at Wembley. as Man City face Man United. This is a game that does sometimes give us a glimpse of how well trusted certain players are. And for Man City, I am intrigued to see what he does with Oscar Bob in this match. My hunch is that Oscar Bob plays. My hunch is he probably starts. He's been extremely good in pre-season. If he does well again here, then he will be in line to start the season in the Man City attack. And when you look at his price point, that is something that we just cannot ignore. In one of my last videos, I outlined him as someone to have on your watch list. He's still on mine, and he's knocking on the door for a starting place. I wouldn't even have this guy on the bench if he's starting the season at Man City, to be honest. At the moment, I'm kind of waiting for this Community Shield game because I think it's the best sign we're going to get so far. But the way he's playing in pre-season suggests he has the breakout potential to be like Cole Palmer last year. That type of leverage is possible in the new season. And that's always exciting when you get someone coming at such a good price too. And in a summer when Man City are not making signings at the moment, they still might, but Oscar Bob might feel like a new signing. He's certainly going to add a new edge to their attack. I'm quite excited about what he's doing and the way that he's playing. I would imagine Grealish starts too. It'd be interesting to see how he does. Jeremy Doku's possibly someone that we might want to consider. But Grealish, I was told the other day that he's probably the fittest player in that Man City team. He's looking for a strong campaign. But Oscar Bob, for me, he's the guy we need to have eyes on in the Community Shield. On the other side of it, don't forget, I've already warned you about this, Amad Diallo having a great pre-season, and we need eyes on him too. A lot of people, do I need Bob? Do I need Diallo? Watch it the weekend and see what you think. That's all for today in Chasing Green Arrow's special episode. Please do subscribe, give us a like if you've enjoyed the video.